Hi, I'm Trayce Gardner, founder-director of Brooklyn Young Filmmakers, and this is the Lonely Woman podcast. The title of my talk today is The Mayor's Push for Diversity. What's next? I recently had some experiences with two city initiatives, and I was left wanting so badly to have a serious discussion with the city about what could be next. So I'm doing this podcast where I get to say, hey, listen, what if we could empower everyday people in modest income communities to be peer teachers for New York City's booming cultural sector? What if through these everyday people, like neighbors, parents, churchgoers, mailmen, security guards, MTA workers, if through these people we could raise the cultural capital in these isolated, underserved communities? I'm calling out these names: janitor, bank teller, department store clerk, nannies, because they represented at least 50% of all of our paying participants at the many make-a-film classes and seminars on jobs in film that we ran for 10 years. Watch our video interview with Rich Topin. He's the owner of Professional Sound Services and the People's Hollywood Studios' first industry sponsor. Yay. He'll tell you that working-class hobbyists are a significant and growing market at a store in Manhattan, at a store in Fort Lauderdale, and at a store in New Orleans. These are people earning an income that is enough to survive and who on the side are slowly building on their passion to know more about filmmaking, writing, wardrobe, camera, makeup, all of it. These are people who love movies, who notice when there's an article about New York's booming film and TV industry. They want to work on film projects for personal fulfillment, for cultural enrichment, for their sanity. The truth that is getting lost today is that even if you are just getting by on a modest income, you don't have to feel like a poor person. Not if you have a creative life. Not if there are activities you enjoy doing that fully engage you and make you happy in the moment. Your income might remain the same, but if you can increase your cultural capital, life is seen in brighter light and doors are not closed, doors are to be opened. Brooklyn Young Filmmakers has always served an intergenerational mix of adults and teens and mixed skill levels, taking an interdisciplinary approach to teaching and using filmmaking as boot camp for life. Whereas most well-funded social and cultural programs today are focused on saving the children. Programs for the kids and teens and young 20s to show them pathways to a larger world. The few well-funded programs aimed at adults are for adults who are dealing with troubles of some kind. But the more kids see the ordinary people they live among take steps towards creative living, the more successful and confident children will be in the larger world. Our intergenerational mixed skill levels approach might seem all over the place to some. It certainly hasn't fit into the guidelines for most government and foundation funding, but it has given us a unique look into a large, untapped market that nobody speaks about. The person with a modest income who has both a passion for doing art and a discipline. We see this person as the ideal cultural foot soldier. They want to learn and they want to talk about what they learn. At work in the lunchroom, they'll show their children, they'll bring it up at the church drama group. In the barbershop and the beauty salon, they share stories about their experiences. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book, The Tipping Point, calls these people the informal connectors and salespeople in modest income communities. This is the group Brooklyn Young Filmmakers wants to tap to develop as peer teachers. They can informally spread information about working in the film industry, and they will do so for their personal fulfillment. At the same time, our filmmakers store and rental equipment house will bring in the young, low, no-budget, self-starting filmmakers who are taking steps towards a career. And we'll train the hobbyists to be PAs for these young filmmakers, to help them better organize their sets and raise production values without increasing budget. Because our store will be open 6 days a week, we can invite working-class freelance film professionals who would like to give back to their communities to come on in, drop by, give an informal talk when you have the availability. And of course, in our vision, everyone will buy from our store and snack from our concession stand as they hang out pollinating each other. In modest income communities, how often do you find a very open, anyone can drop in anytime cultural networking hub that is aimed at people who have long lived in the neighborhood and not just the recent gentrifiers. A hub that is also a creative bridge between longtime residents and more affluent newcomers. In affluent neighborhoods, cultural hubs with cafes can often be found because they are considered a necessity of the technological networking age, like the new Made in New York Media Center in Dumbo. Our People's Hollywood Studio is a smaller grassroots version and is being built by us, actual foot soldiers, and we're doing it from the ground up. Yeah, it's a vision. Martin Luther King said, "Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase." Well, we've gotten beyond those first steps as we prepare a low-cost business plan for the People's Hollywood Studio. There's a lot we have to learn and a lot of different types of support we have to gather to make it happen, but it needs to happen. New ideas need to happen. We need to figure out how to bring the city's cultural growth to these communities and not just to the children. What if we could do so in a way that potentially could be economically self-sustaining? What if we could create a whole new paradigm for community education in underserved communities? Isn't this worth talking about? And who gets to join the discussion, the real discussions about what could be next? There was a city initiative we got very excited about recently, the Community Enrichment Grants for Arts and Media Projects in Modest Income Communities. The Teamsters Local 817 gave $150,000 to the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment for 3 $50,000 grants. Of course, Silly Bean, we were dreaming. $50,000? That would be enough for Brooklyn young filmmakers to raise the gates on the People's Hollywood Studio store and networking hub. The application asked for a simple 2-page proposal, but the burn? $250,000. You had to already have a budget of at least $250,000 to apply. The 3 nonprofits that received the grants are all cultural institutions that deserve to be supported. I've gone myself to the Socrates Sculpture Park for free film screenings and cultural events, and the 2 organizations that serve youth and their families, the Urban Arts Partnership and El Puente, they're doing inspired work. But let me say something wild. There could be a value in talking with a small grassroots group like us. Listen to part 2 of my Lonely Woman podcast, where I speak about another city diversity initiative as we try to start a dialogue outside the box.